I always loved the peace and solitude one can find in nature, far away from the hustle and bustle of city life. The sight of morning dew glossed onto grass, accompanied with the refreshing scent of wise pine trees towering, twisting, and contorting, always put me at ease. After spending years working as a software engineer for a tech company in Denver, I began to feel increasingly restless and unfulfilled with where my life was headed. The never-ending deadlines, arduous hours, and unrelenting stress of the job left me feeling like a husk of my former self. I knew I needed change, and Daisy, my loyal German Shepherd, knew it too. One night, as I sat on my couch eating a microwave dinner and watching YouTube, Daisy sat at my feet with her big brown eyes fixated on my meal. I think anyone who's owned a dog for a long time can relate to the bond I have with Daisy. It's hard to explain, but after spending years together, I feel like I could almost talk to her and understand what she's thinking. She's more than just a pet. She's my companion, protector, and confidant. Anyway, it must have been a Vsauce video when it appeared, an ad for an online real estate company. What if I used this app to find a new home, a place where Daisy and I could escape the city and start fresh? Thoughts raced through the confines of my skull. With a sudden push of motivation, I downloaded the app, signed up, and started scrolling. As I scrolled through listings on the app, I couldn't help but feel excited about the possibility of finding a new home. The idea of a fresh start, away from the stress and chaos of city life, was alluring. That's when I stumbled upon the perfect cabin. It wasn't the largest house in the world. In fact, it wasn't very big at all. But as I looked through the pictures on the app, I could already feel the weight of stress lifting off my shoulders. The rustic V-frame cabin had everything I needed: a queen bed, bathroom, TV, couch, and every other necessity, all nestled under its 600 square foot roof. It was the perfect place for Daisy and I to escape the city and start fresh. 1 month and 7 years worth of savings later, my new life began. Everything was perfect at first. The mornings always smelled of eucalyptus, and the flowers were always in bloom. Behind my cabin, just down the hill, there was a small creek. I would sit with my morning cup of joe by the main window and watch it flow by. This was definitely what I needed, or I guess, what we needed. Daisy loved her new house too, and with the property including 7 acres of land, she had free rein to do whatever she wanted. Until she disappeared. I was heartbroken. The cabin didn't feel the same without her wagging tail and perked ears. I couldn't eat without thinking about her begging for a bite. I couldn't look at the creek without thinking of her drinking from it. I could almost hear the sound of her tongue scooping the water. It was as if every corner of the cabin was a reminder of her absence, and the memories of our time together only intensified the ache in my chest. I waited desperately, hoping my companion would return, like nothing ever happened. A week passed, then 2. Daisy was never coming home. I repeated to myself, hoping to find some solace in the words, but the pain remained. The truth was hard to bear, but I knew deep down that Daisy was gone forever. No amount of searching or hoping could bring her back. She was my loyal companion for 5 long years, and now she's gone. The thought of her never coming home was too painful to bear, but I had to face the reality. It was time to move forward. I woke up immediately, 2:43, and red illuminated the cabin. It was heavily raining outside, and there was scratching at the door. I slowly got out from under the blankets against every bone in my body and grabbed the rifle under my bed. My knees popped as I crouched. As I approached the door, the scratching grew louder and more frantic. My heart raced with fear and anticipation. I cautiously peered through the peephole and saw a dark, hulking figure huddled against the porch. I hesitated for a moment before slowly unlocking the door and cracking it open. The door whined as it opened, and the figure stumbled inside, drenched from head to toe and panting heavily. It was Daisy. Tears streamed down my face as I hugged her, feeling her damp fur against my skin. She was alive. I couldn't believe it. After all these weeks, she had found her way back home to me. Her tail wagged as she licked my face, and I couldn't help but laugh through my tears. I quickly dried her off and gave her some food and water. We spent the rest of the night cuddled up on the couch, her head resting on my lap as I stroked her fur to the tapping of individual raindrops slapping the roof. But ever since she came back, she's been really freaking me the fuck out. It must have been a few days after her return. Things had seemingly gone back to their old routine. It was a simmering spring morning, and I was painting at the table while enjoying the fruit breakfast. I felt uneasy, so I looked up and scanned the cabin. That's when I saw it. That's when I fucking saw it. It was Daisy. She was staring at me with the same brown eyes she used to beg with. But they made me feel sick now, not safe. Her eyes no longer read that of a dog, but of something much more sinister. Her head was tilted at an unnatural angle, her jaw hanging. "Daisy?" I asked as I got up to confront her. But as soon as I got up, she stopped making the face. Relieved, I reached out to pet her, but she flinched away and growled again. It was like she was a completely different dog. I couldn't understand what was happening, but I knew I had to figure it out before things got worse. Over the next few days, Daisy's behavior continued to be erratic. Sometimes she would act completely normal, wagging her tail and following me around the cabin. But then other times, she would growl and snarl, her eyes turning a deep, menacing brown. I couldn't help but feel a sense of fear and unease around her. It wasn't just the growling, it was the way she watched me. Not like a dog watches you, like something trying to understand me. That night, I woke up again. No scratching this time, no rain, just silence. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring. Daisy wasn't in the room. "Daisy," I called out, my voice catching in my throat. Nothing. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, stumbling out of bed. The beam cut through the dark, landing on the hallway. She was standing there, not moving, just standing. Her body was facing me, but her head was turned too far, further than it should have been able to go. Her eyes reflected the light, wide and glassy, locked onto mine. "Daisy, come here," I whispered. Her tail didn't wag. Instead, she took a step forward, slow, deliberate, then another. Her nails clicked against the wood, each step just slightly off beat, like she was learning how to walk. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I just needed to believe she was still in there. I crouched down and held out my hand. "Come here, girl." She stopped a few feet away, tilted her head, that same unnatural angle. Her mouth opened, not in a pant, not in a bark, too wide, too slow. And then she made a sound, not a growl, not a whine, a voice. "Come here." It was mine. I stumbled backward so fast I hit the wall, the flashlight clattering out of my hand. The beam spun wildly across the room, catching flashes of her, of it, as it moved, not walking anymore, crawling, low to the ground, but wrong, limbs bending too far, shoulders shifting under the skin like they weren't set in the right place. "Stay back," I shouted, scrambling for the rifle beside my bed. The thing that looked like Daisy froze at the sight of my rifle. Then slowly, it stood up again, perfectly still, perfectly normal, tail wagging, tongue out, like nothing had happened. I didn't sleep that night, or the next, or the one after that. It's getting better at pretending. That's the worst part. If you didn't know her before, you wouldn't notice. But I do. I see the delays, the way it watches before it reacts, the way it stares at my hands when I eat, the way it doesn't blink when I'm not looking directly at it. Yesterday, I caught it at the door again, scratching, slow, rhythmic. But the door wasn't closed this time. It stopped when I looked at it, turned its head, smiled. I don't think Daisy came back that night. I think something else did. And I think it learned how to sound like me because it's still practicing. I locked the bedroom door tonight, pushed the dresser in front of it. I can hear it in the hallway.
"Open."
It almost sounds like me now. Not quite, but it's getting better.